And welcome to the Dangertainment Podcast, Episode 2. Today we are doing a movie review on Madman, the who knows what year film, because my computer hates me and I forgot to memorize what date. 1982 independent slasher film. And just warning up front, this episode will contain harsh language and a lot of spoilers, but the movie is old as hell now, so if you haven't seen it, that's your problem, and you've been warned.
Granted, I didn't see it until the other night, so I don't blame people. It's a hard movie to track down. Well, it used to be a hard movie to track down up until Scream Factory re-released it.
Yeah, actually it wasn't Scream Factory, it's Vinegar Syndrome. I don't know what the hell company. I've never heard of that before. But
I thought it was Scream.
No, I mean, they totally ripped off the style of it because it has, like, the flippable cover and all that shit. But it's not a Scream Factory. You're right. But this came out, like, maybe 2 months ago? But, yeah, before I get ahead of myself, I'm Phil, your host of Outside the Box Reviews and co-host of Dangertainment Podcast.
And I'm Colin, and I'm co-host as well. I'm also part of the gaming group, like I said last time, Broken Glory Gaming. It's a video of just us, me, and a few of my other buddies that we just game on Xbox nonstop. And I'll go into more at the end of the podcast.
And yeah, so we decided after our first episode, we were kind of rambling on about random crap for 2 hours, that maybe we tried something a little more focused. We're both big fans of movie review podcasts, and I figured this would be a way to kind of cover some of the movies that we enjoy, and then also just torture each other by forcing us to watch, picking different movies that maybe one of us doesn't really want to ever see or ever want to see again.
So there'll be good movies and bad movies to come.
And so I guess we could maybe start off with that. Which one of those would you consider Madman? I was kind of the fan. I'm the one who picked this one. And I've been a fan for a while of it. I was introduced to it by One's Customs. He was doing some custom action figures based on Madman. And I was curious. I wanted to see more slashers. I'm a big Friday the 13th fan, so you kind of wanted more movies in that vein, and this definitely fits that category. So by him talking about the figure, it kind of made me want to go track down the movie, and I've enjoyed it for quite a while now. Finally glad to be able to pick it up for not $80 on DVD. But I know, Colin, you hadn't seen it until I made you watch it.
No, actually, the way you kept talking about it, I knew about it from the custom you did and all the stuff you talked about of it, but I never, it was one of those I couldn't find. So if I, if I found it, I got it. But it was one of our recent trips to, I don't know if it was Movie Stop or a local bookstore that we went to, and he found it. I picked it up. I haven't watched it until, Friday, and it was pretty good. I mean, there's questionable things with acting, but we'll get into that. But it was pretty good. I mean, I liked how it felt like it was a real person. It felt like it was one of those campfire, Are You Afraid of the Dark campfire stories. And it felt really like one of those true 80 movies that wasn't, just murder, tits, and that's it.
Were there any?
Which was surprising. There was like one scene with nudity, and I was like, wow. And that was it, yeah.
I just remember the hot tub scene. I don't even remember seeing
that. Was it.
Okay. But this
movie, she's getting in, you get a quick glimpse, and that's it.
This movie came out in 1982. So for context of the slasher genre at that point, this is coming a couple of years after the original Friday the 13th and the year after Friday the 13th Part 2, which this movie is very, very similar to Friday the 13th Part 2. A lot of, concentrating on adult camp counselors. I guess, similar to Friday the 13th Part 1 as well, but I see a lot of similarities to Part 2. And it came the year after The Burning, which is another slasher film that I really like, another kind of lower budget. But Tom Savini was on it, so it's not quite as low budget as some of the other ones like this. But, this movie and The Burning are actually really tied together. They shot both in New York. They actually, I think for Madman, they wanted to film at a location, and they were told it was being used. Turns out it was being used by the guys making The Burning. And they're both based off of the Cropsey legend, which is a campfire tale that's kind of regional up there that, about some madman out in the woods. I think it probably changes depending on what camp you're at or whatever, who tells it. But Madman, of course, they named their slasher Madman Mars, but The Burning straight up just had Cropsey.
Yeah, it was. I still need to track down The Burning. That'll probably come within a few months of both of us watching. But yeah, it felt really campfire-y, like the camp counselors. I didn't realize there were kids until my second watching. Shows how much I paid attention the first time.
Well, there's one at the beginning around the campfire. There's one freaking little kid, and then
I didn't realize. I thought that was a grown-up. The way they angled it, it looked like she was laying on her lap. So it's one of those, girl lays in guy's lap, girls lays in girl lap, one of those blah.
I knew that was a genre. Well, it might be actually, but we're not talking about that genre here. But yeah, like they kind of just show up at the end, like randomly. It's like, oh, let's get all the kids on the school bus because
yeah,
that worked so well for everybody else trying to get away in a car.
Yeah, but it felt weird. I know it's supposed to be a camp counselor thing, but it didn't seem like it was a camp counselor at a camp. It just felt like a bunch of friends getting together, and then the grown-up just goes, all right, I need to get stuff for the camp. Bye. And exit story.
And I guess maybe it'd be worth giving like the briefest of plot synopsises just because, it's a slasher film. It starts around a campfire. It's a bunch of counselors and, I guess, kids. And it's supposed to be a special camp for gifted children or something like that. But
yeah, I didn't catch that.
Summer camp, they specifically note that it's like right before, I think they said Thanksgiving. Like it's late. It's the fall in New York, and they're at a summer camp, which is just weird. But they basically, the adult there, the one real adult, not like, older counselor, Max, gives this whole story about Madman, and he's this farmer that was just a mean, nasty guy, and one night he goes and slaughters his family and then goes to the bar for a drink and puts the bloody axe on the bar and orders a beer, and the village kind of finds out what happened. They hunt him down, they hang him, they put a big gash in his face with an axe, and they come back the next morning and his body and the bodies of his family are all missing. And that's the legend that's told. And the last part of the legend is if you're in the woods and you say his name above a whisper, he'll hear you and he'll come and kill you. So this, one jerky kid just decides to go scream about, Madman Mars. And I guess that wakes him up or brings him to them. And it's, basically slasher movie. All the kids die one by one, with the exception of the guy who was taunting Madman because he went out to go investigate the house that Madman was supposed to live in. And ironically, I think just because Madman's not there, because he's just killing all the campers, that kid's safe. And he kills them off one by one. And then the last girl that he murders, she ends up making him light the house on fire. And I guess it was the... What's up?
So she actually died?
Well, he put her on a hook and it went through the front of her. So I'm guessing she was...
I didn't catch that. Okay. I was wondering. I was like, I never saw her. I'm like, where? Okay. I didn't catch that.
It was the scene from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but done bloodier.
Okay.
But I thought the I guess I maybe start with the beginning, the campfire tale. I thought that was an interesting way to introduce the character. Once again, very Friday the 13th Part 2, where it starts about the I'm going to give it to you straight about Jason. But I really liked that, they built this whole mythology. My question, though, is that mythology real? Because we find out that Mars is real, but there's a huge disconnect between the story told and what we see Mars to be. He's a farmer. He's a normal dude who's just pissed off. He apparently speaks because he orders a beer. And the guy we see is just this feral dude who just growls. He's basically a bear in overalls.
Yeah. It was. The opening was good. I mean, as you're introducing the character, like we said, there are spoilers. As they're introducing the characters, they show clips of like their final moments, whether it's the real final moments or a scare moment. They show them, and then this one jerk guy, which that is what this movie is. They all die because of that one jerk ass kid who doesn't even die. That was the biggest letdown of this fucking movie.
And it would have been nice, like, if they had been able to do a sequel. It would have been great to, once again, referencing Friday the 13th Part 2, just to have him slaughtered horribly at the beginning of the next one.
Yep. Be worth it.
But yeah, that just really kind of took me off guard. I hadn't really thought about it before, but to me, it just doesn't make sense. Like, there's obviously something supernatural about Mars, or unhuman about Mars. But it's just kind of weird that there's that big disconnect there, to me at least.
Yeah, but I mean, it's supposed to be like a campfire tale where he's supposed to be these unstoppable being, and everyone thinks, oh, it's not going to happen. So, does he even get hurt? I mean, I know the final girl, so to speak, stabs him with the pocket knife, and that's it.
That's not the worst he gets. Yeah. He apparently really sucks. I kind of wonder, because they have the big axe wound in his face, and I think it gets into one of his eyes. Like, I mean, this is previous. This is from the legend or whatever, but it really kind of makes me think he has no depth perception, because he misses a lot.
Yes.
Like, it's actually funny, because I'm so used to, like, Friday the 13th, where Jason, like, he'll shoot a spear gun from across a lake and hit somebody dead in the eye every time. I mean, except for Part 8. I mean, that's Part 8.
Yep.
Electrocuted. But Mars constantly misses.
Well, that and the one scene that I'm thinking of with him missing is the one where he's chasing the guy. The guy keeps moving, too. So it's like, swing, move at last second. Swing, move at last second. Swing, so on and so forth, until finally the guy just doesn't time it right, and he gets,
The second to last girl, and it's funny, because there were two girls that had, like, the same basic haircut, and I got really confused, because the first one,
yes,
one of my favorite kills in the movie, she gets in the car, classic thing, car doesn't start. So she goes and checks under the hood, and as she's looking, Mars jumps on the hood of the car, cuts her head off using the hood of the car. So now, and I think he drags her body off, but her severed head is in the. Then the other chick who looks exactly like her and her boyfriend go get in the car. It won't start, and the boyfriend goes out, finds the head, tells the other girl to stay in the car. Of course, she doesn't listen. But the first time I watched it, I wasn't paying enough attention. I'm like, why is her own severed head in the car? Like, why is she seeing herself? And then I realized it's just two chicks that look almost exactly the same.
I think the boyfriend, how did he die? All I see is Madman just holding him up. Did he break his back, rip in half?
I think they must not have had the budget for whatever they wanted to do, because I think what they wanted to do would have required a dummy, and they probably couldn't afford it. But yeah, I thought he was going to either do like, Nightfall Bane move with him, or he was just going to rip him apart over his head or something.
Yeah.
I mean, you hear cracking noises, so I mean, he does something, but I mean, this movie does kind of reek of a low budget. There's a couple gore moments at the very end, but you could tell they only had money for maybe a handful of gore effects, and they had more counselors to kill off than they had, the ability to do the effects for.
And the second girl that had the boyfriend, the mustache man, she just didn't look any emotion. Like I was talking about bad acting. She's the one. It's like her emotions are like nothing. She looks like, I mean, I've never met her, but she looks like the girl when she screams or talks, like the girl from Sleepaway Camp.
We didn't see her naked, so I don't know if she had a dick or not, but spoilers for Sleepaway Camp. I mean, I saw that scene years before I ever saw that movie, so I think it's been spoiled pretty. If you're.
I will say I've never seen the movie, but I know that stupid spoiler. It's like Psycho. You see the power scene before the movie.
Knowing Norman Bates is playing his mother is on the same level as knowing Angela has a dick.
But if we're talking about the kills, we should probably go in order. It starts off with. Doesn't he like choke the? Who was the first one? Was it King or was? Oh no, it was the drunk.
Yeah, it was like, was he the cook or something? He just gets slashed across the neck.
By what? His nails?
It has nails. Yeah, that's actually what I like about Madman Mars is that, I mean, the axe is kind of his, his machete, his butcher knife, his razor glove. Well, I guess his razor glove is actually his hand, but like he has built-in weapons in his hands. He doesn't need a weapon externally. And I know later in Friday the 13th, I mean, I think they did it kind of early on, but later they more and more where Jason would kill with his bare hands. I think it was more of a Kane Hodder thing because he just wanted to, strangle people. He kind of has an obsession with that. But, I just like that Mars actually, you can't take all of his weapons away because they're kind of built in.
Yeah. That was also a decent death because it was one of those, bam, I'm here, and then which was kind of good. So you get a nice gore effect in it, a little spit of blood. I mean, you could tell their first kill, they were going to use the gore, which was done. And then sorry.
I don't remember who dies next. That's my problem. I know people die.
It's the hot tub guy.
Is that TP or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay.
He gets a noose around his neck. He's walking around looking for I forget what. Oh, he's looking for the jerk guy that the man.
Yeah.
Looking for him, and he gets a noose around his neck one way or another, and he starts getting strangled. Well, he's trying to save himself, and Madman just comes walking up to him because he's, pretty much not in the noose. He's kind of has enough slack to get out of it. Madman just grabs him by the belt and just tugs him and breaks his neck.
By the belt?
That is one of my favorites. Pulls him down and breaks. That is one of my favorite kills.
That was pretty good. And that's another one where I was kind of surprised they had the budget to actually suspend the actor like that and stuff.
Yeah.
But that was just kind of brutal, too, because he's sitting there struggling with the noose for a long time. And it's almost it's almost merciful that Mars puts him out of his misery, grabs him by the dick, and pulls him down.
Grabs him by the teepee?
But because I was kind of wondering, like, you see him, he's in there strangling, and you see this like monster hand, obviously Mars's hand, but it's like reaching up for his crotch. I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
That was the thing. They didn't show a lot of him. They showed a lot of his hand, whether it's like creeping up behind somebody or getting onto a car door as it's going away, which I kind of don't get. As you're driving away, you wouldn't feel somebody pulling a car, but okay. But,
this movie, I mean, I watched some of the bonus features. They are very honest that this is made because Friday the 13th hit it big. And people were willing to throw money at horror movies, low-budget slasher films, independent slasher films. So they're pretty open about the fact that we just want to make a Friday the 13th that we can sell. But there's also kind of a lot of Halloween in it, I think, in some of the shots. They really use a lot of that blue lighting and have Mars kind of fade in and out of shadows. And then I guess even the original Friday the 13th, where it's a lot of hands and a lot of feet that you see, and you don't really see a lot of the killer. You just see their appendages. But somewhere, I guess before that scene, not a kill, but it made me bored to tears, was maybe one of the worst sex scenes ever in a horror movie.
It's set to some weird song. But the song was kind of interesting for a horror movie, but it's just like they get into a fight, then they make up at dinner, like saying like, "Oh, sorry, you dealt with us fighting and everything." Which all they did for fighting was they add like, "Hey, we want to like get together after the fireworks or fire camp," and that was their fight. And then it's like they make up after dinner and they get into the hot tub. It's like, wow. Quickest, break up and we're together.
It was kind of a worthless scene. I think the real fight was if they were going to be together after camp, not just after the fire. When camp was over, they were going to hook up later. But like they're in the all right. First of all, I looked up the song. All the music was done by the producer of the movie. So the awesome Madman theme song that we played at the beginning, which is just, I think that's a great addition to the film, and probably the most iconic thing about this movie. But he also wrote this really crappy love song and threw it in there. And they're like in the hot tub and they're like swirling around the hot tub. Like, that's not how a hot tub works. Like, there's not enough water pressure to like move you in a circle around a hot tub.
It's like it's like Disney where it's like as they're like love each other, they're swirling in circles.
And then I forgot that chick, I mean, you said you didn't even realize it, but I forgot that chick doesn't die, because I actually wrote a lot of notes down towards the end of the movie about, like, her. Like, I'm like, oh, that's like a worst final girl ever, because she really doesn't ever do anything. Because, I mean, really, she just sits in the cabins until the very end.
She doesn't even play strip poker or strip Monopoly.
Strip Monopoly. Well, that's actually where I was going with this, was like, I mean, we know from years of watching slasher films and slasher movies that came much further after this, but the formula is you have sex and you die. And she has sex in the hot tub, and I was like, I remembered her living. But she doesn't mention she didn't finish, so it's kind of just like, is that why she gets to live? Like, it was less satisfying sex, so she doesn't die for that? But she dies, so that completely was negated. But I just found that kind of a weird detail to throw into the movie.
Oh, God. But yeah, I mean, it's like they don't even do anything. As their friends are getting cut to pieces and slaughtered, this girl does not do anything. She's sitting in a room, like, reading and putting a pet, like, paper together. She loves me. He loves me not. He loves me. He loves me not. And that's all. It's like her friend visits her, and it's like, hey, you haven't seen them. No. Oh, go look for them. So she does. Interrupts the two, the non-express, the lookalike girl and mustache man. Interrupts their sex scene. And it's like, hey, we're going to go look for them. Can you hurry up? But don't hurry.
They definitely didn't hurry afterwards. They looked like they were going to continue what they were doing. But can we back up a little bit and go, I think it was those two and another couple earlier, have like the weirdest thing where they're like by a fire and the two guys are side by side, and the two girls are side by side, so their heads are like staggered.
Uh-huh.
It's just like a weird, like who does that?
Oh yeah, the marching side by side thing.
No, they're like laying down by the fire. It's for the counselors, like two guys and two girls, and it's just an awkward scene. It's just like, I mean, it looks cool like when you're filming it, but like just thinking like, who would do that? I don't know. And then one guy gets up and gives this whole speech about like, the scary thing about humans is you don't know what's in my mind, and I could be ready to kill you all right now. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, I didn't get that scene.
I mean, yeah, I would have rather that got cut and we just got closer to the next kill. It really doesn't add a damn thing to the movie.
Not a damn thing.
But I do wonder if they were trying to maybe set up other characters, like maybe Mars isn't real and there's somebody at the camp doing the killing. I mean, from the way the movie's shot and edited, it never really gives that impression. But Max, the older guy, disappears at the beginning of the film. Friday the 13th Part 2 is it, where he goes to town and never comes back, or he does eventually come back, but barely. And like that guy giving his whole crazy speech, like, are we supposed to think somebody's out there dressed as Mars killing people?
I don't know. That was the weird thing too. I mean, he got out of there really quick, but not before. What I thought was, yeah, it doesn't seem like he's not the legend that like Jason, where someone's going to dress up and scare people. He's the one that's like, hey, let's not mess with this one.
Yeah, I just kind of thought it'd be their Mr. Feeney head counselor dude coming back to kill them all.
You mentioned Madman has an axe. What I thought was kind of funny is that they have an axe literally half embedded in a tree stump, and Max keeps saying, "Hey, I will bet $100 whoever can pull it out." So one guy tries, they both try it, and I was just kind of like, I'm waiting for like Madman Mars is gonna walk up and just pull it out, no ease. And I liked how he actually had to work it to get it out. He wasn't just some pull and it's out. It was like a few tugs and then it breaks the whole stump in half. I thought that was kind of nice, where he's not undeniably strong, where it's like, unstoppable.
But he is stronger than at least 2 or 3 guys on his own.
Yeah, but I liked how it made him. He had to work to get it out instead of wow.
Whoever holds this axe, if he be worthy, shall possess the power of Mars. But,
Marvel, do you smell a franchise? He can be with Buffalo or no, Ray Bill.
I would actually pay to see that. Goodbye, horses.
And oh god, that leads to the third death, which is the what was it? The nice guy, the guy that was doing the knife threat, like I'm crazy, and he's just walking. He runs into Mars, and it's just that's when the whole depth perception happens, where he keeps swinging, miss, swing, miss, swing, miss, and finally, they must have reused a lot of head stumps because there was a lot of beheadings.
I think I said earlier I didn't think they had a dummy. I think they might have had like 2 dummies if they just redressed over and over. So I think that might be why they didn't rip it in half. They probably had like a dummy with a head and a dummy without a head, and they just kind of, used them, and then they probably had to return them on Monday to wherever they got them from.
Yeah.
But I like the headless stump. It kind of reminded me of something you'd see at a Guar show. I was kind of expecting it to like spray blood at the audience. It wasn't a bad effect though. For what the movie is, for a very low budget indie movie, I thought.
There's a reason why it was at night though.
What's up?
It's a reason why it was at night though.
Oh yeah, but I mean, every other movie in that genre pretty much is. I mean, Texas Chainsaw and The Burning are the only two I could think of really quickly that are set in daylight.
I know about one of those.
And then, yeah. So is the car death next?
I think so.
And as we talked about that one, that's probably one of my favorite deaths, just because it's so unconventional. I'm sure somebody will point out it's ripped off from something, maybe, but I really like seeing it.
But it's so funny because you've seen so many horror movies, and it's like, how has that not been done? But you see somebody working on their car, and either they get in the car and they kill from behind, or something else. And it was so funny. Like, I'm expecting her to like close it, and he's gonna be on top of the car, or he's right behind her and kills her. But no, he just jumps on it and decapitates her.
You're right. Like, that's the moment when the killer gets in the back seat. That's not when the killer sits in a tree and jumps down on him.
Yeah.
And then we have Mustache Man and Lookalike Girlfriend. Like I said, the severed head apparently keeps the car from working, but it's very obvious when they're trying to drive away after they get the car running again that the car's not actually moving at all. So then when the car, like, at neutral speed crashes into a tree, it's really kind of off-putting because I'm like, I didn't even know the car was moving.
What I thought was funny is that when like she makes it so dramatic that it's crashing into it, that she like falls out. It's like one of those pop, and she's like, oh my god! It's like, you fell. It's like falling off of a bike. You're fine. It was like, as you're walking, you trip over a crack in the sidewalk. It's just like over dramatic.
And she develops an incredible limp from that as well. She is like limping the rest of the movie.
I was just laughing. I was like, really? You're limping from that?
But I guess Mars reaches in. The boyfriend is behind the wheel. He grabs him by the face and drags him out of the car. Very reminiscent of Nancy's mom at the end of Nightmare on Elm Street going through the window. Except
Yeah.
less doll. And then we see, as we mentioned before, the kind of Bane moment. He's holding him above his head, doing whatever that was to him.
Screaming. And all he is screaming. You hear the shadow. You see a face of him screaming. And it's like you just hear a cracking noise as his girlfriend limps away.
And, I mean, you said you didn't like her acting, but I actually kind of liked, I mean, it was a little over the top, but she's like just freaking the hell out for the rest of her time in the movie. She is just in pure.
I mean, her deliveries. I like just her deliveries were just like deadpan.
Oh yeah, and actually there was one scene earlier where I think it was her and her boyfriend were talking to the blonde girl, the one that doesn't live to the end, but the last girl. I noticed not only was the acting bad, but the scene was completely out of focus.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no people, like, both their faces were blurry. It was a two-shot of the two of them standing there, and both of them were blurry. And I'm just like, that's not really good.
I had black lines on their faces in some shots.
Yeah, and do you have the same one that I have, the new Blu-ray? Is that what you picked up?
No, I have the bare bones.
Okay. Because I don't remember when that one came out. I remember like an older version had like 30 years of Madman thing on it.
No, all it has is an audio commentary, theatrical trailer, TV spots, and widescreen presentation in 1.85.1.
Okay. So I think you have the original VHS or original DVD release. There was one that was made at the 30th anniversary that was apparently the color was really bad, but the one I have is supposed to be a 4K restoration from the original negative. And I noticed there were scenes where it looked like the film might not have been preserved very well, and there were just vertical lines on the middle of the screen. They weren't black, but they were like shades of blues and purples. I thought my TV was messed up.
I thought mine was going bad too, because I also when I see this, I'm like, why does the guy's face have like black streaks all over it? I felt like he got cut or something, or there's a scar I missed. Then the girl had it too. I was like, then they disappear in one shot and then they reappear. I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
So,
it must just be something with the negative.
yeah, so if you have that movie and you've watched it and you recognize that, obviously it's a normal thing with either the Blu-ray or the DVD, whichever you get.
But the 4K restoration was really good looking. We did watch it, the Blu-ray version of it, and the color was very nice. I mean, for a movie from the early 80s, so many, especially low-budget films, they look horrible today. They just have that. I mean, some people, it's an aesthetic they like, but it just has that grindhouse, just grimy look that, it's all tinted one color, or it's just, very fuzzy or grainy. This actually really looked good. It looked like it could have been filmed in the late 80s as opposed to the early 80s. So it's actually, a pretty good-looking movie. But I guess getting back on topic of people dying. So, yeah, I feel bad that I'm not recognizing the names of any of these people, but I really don't care because it's a slasher movie, and even in my absolute favorite all-time slasher movies, I'd have a hard time telling you character names. That's just kind of what slasher movies are to me.
I only remember like 3 names, and that was TP, Madman Mars, and I think it was Richie as the jackass kid.
I had Max, Mars, and TP. So same number, but
I keep forgetting the guy was named Max, so I guess I go 4 now. Woo.
Well, having Max and Mars is kind of annoying, and it's sad that I can remember his name because I just wanted to call him Mr. Feeney the whole time.
He did look. He was the only one in the cast that actually looked familiar.
He does, and I looked him up, and I don't think I've seen anything else he's in. I might be wrong, but here I've got IMDb open right now. Where is he? He's in other movies. He's in like an episode of Law and Order. Yeah, he's in nothing else I've ever seen. But so lookalike girlfriend goes running back into the cabins, and Mars is chasing her. Like, she runs back in, then she thinks she hears something, goes out, and Mars attacks her, busts down the door, and she goes and does an Indiana Jones. She runs and locks herself in the fridge, which it's definitely a unique way to hide from a killer. And another reason why my thought is that Mars is not human, as the story kind of leads you to believe. Because, I mean, you walk into a room, you're chasing somebody, you see a fridge with all of its contents thrown on the floor in front of it. I think a lot of people would kind of assume maybe they're in the fridge.
No, that's too obvious.
But I mean, it's just nothing I've ever seen in a horror movie. I mean, I guess it's just, a redo on Jamie Lee Curtis in the closet. But a fridge is a unique look.
I'm surprised she wasn't cold. I mean, she was in there a long time. I'm surprised she wasn't, cold.
Disney and Arnold Schwarzenegger come out and be like, chill. That shit was like 20 years before that, but whatever.
Random Mr. Freeze cameo.
I don't remember who played it in Batman 66, or whatever, the original show. It wasn't 66. But yeah, so she like hides in the fridge, and at this point, honestly, I'm kind of rooting for her. She's put up a pretty good fight thus far. She's had more screen time with Mars than anybody else in the movie does. And I almost kind of wish she was the last girl to go down, because I really would have felt like she might have made it.
I was actually thinking, instead of when she's walking up and, in the movie you kind of see Madman Mars sneak up behind her, but I was hoping that she would make it out and see the lazy blonde girl, and that's what she is.
Yeah.
That's actually it. She doesn't even check the children until hell, I don't know what stirs her to do it. I think it's because people are just being gone. It's like, oh yeah, there's children here.
She checks the children. All right. So look like girlfriend leaves the fridge because Mars is gone, goes to leave the cabin. Oh, guess what? Mars is back at the door again. Axes her in the throat. But apparently she's still alive. So the blonde, hearing all this commotion, grabs a shotgun, goes looking around the camp.
Smartest thing she's ever done.
In the face. Like, she's at a camp full of kids, and she's that trigger happy. It's kind of terrifying.
Wait, she shot somebody? Wait. What did she shoot at?
Mars, like, slams lookalike girlfriend's head into a window, but the blonde just, like, spins around and shoots her.
Oh, that's why. Like, every time the shotgun went off, I'm always, like, blinking or something. I never saw that scene. So I was like, okay, that explains it.
And that's her trigger to go and get the kids out. I'm like, yeah, people running around. You're just like, shoot all the kids in the face. You were the dick chick of slasher movies.
I did think it was funny that there's throughout the movie there's these two kids, at least one kid, that gets more screen time than the dumb blonde because they keep on looking for Richie. And they keep saying, oh, make up his bed to make him look, like he's here. And they keep looking for him. How do they get more screen time than her when she's supposedly running from Madman Mars? And these kids are just kids.
I honestly,
that's the weirdest thing.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the fact that I know when this movie was made, I would think they were trying to go for their own Corey Feldman. But that's obviously not the case.
I felt like they were the kids from Jason Part 6.
But once again, stuff that came later, so it's just kind of surprising.
Yeah. I just thought that was kind of like Jason Part 6 with two kids underneath the bed, like, what did you want to be when you grow up? Just those two smart-ass kids with the whole movie.
Pretty much.
But she goes running around, trigger happy. I don't remember. She runs around, acts stupid. Shows how much this movie, I reminisce of what she does. And it ends up with her running into him. I just remember, like, she gets clawed, or what happens? Like, how does she get the slash on her face? Does he claw her?
Yeah, well, she's running around getting the kids on the bus. I guess they have a school bus there or something. So she's getting all the kids on the bus. And she goes to get him out of there, and he's, like, trying to break in. I guess they didn't close the door fast enough, so he's trying to, like, get his hands in the door. And she beats him out of the bus and then decides she needs to go face it off with him. I don't even know why. Like, she just drove out of there, and she decides she needs to go face off with him. And in a scene that does look a lot like Halloween, she's like in the house with him, and yeah, he claws her face, and as she grabs her and drags her down to where he's keeping all the bodies from the people he's killed, which I had to look at and think, is Mars a collector? Does he just, like, collect corpses? Because we heard earlier that the bodies of his family disappeared, and he's storing all the bodies from this movie in his basement.
Yeah, that was an interesting thing, because I liked how it's, like, you kept seeing, like, when the lookalike girl was running, she runs into the headless body of the one guy, and she, like, lets go of him. He falls over a stump slowly, and then all of a sudden the rest of his legs go over the stump, and I'm guessing that was him being dragged away. That was neat. Like, every now and then you'd see bodies being dragged, so it was kind of intriguing to see that he was a collector.
And I mean, the whole movie, every time Mars kills somebody, there is kind of a clip of him dragging them down these stairs, and it's really kind of off-putting because sometimes it's hard to tell where he is because you kind of assume he's at the camp because you see him kill somebody at the camp, and then all of a sudden he's back at his house. So the one kid's like going around upstairs looking at crap because he wants to investigate Madman Mars, and the whole time Mars is going in and out of his own basement, dragging these corpses there. So it's a little strange, but then he takes the blonde and, like I said, there's a chainsaw massacre. There's a hook on the wall, and instead of chainsaw where they just put him, on a rig, this time it actually comes right out the front. and it's pretty damn bloody for what I was expecting. But then she pulls out a knife with like her final breaths and stabs him. So he knocks a candle over onto the hay on the floor and lights the house on fire.
Yeah, that's when you finally get the first good look at his face, and then it transitions to Counselor Max driving, and we get the jerk-ass foul-mouthed kid like, he's alive, Madman's alive.
But
which they never show what he saw, so I'm guessing he found the bodies, because he's like all of a sudden like.
Yeah, I mean, he saw glimpses of Mars through the whole thing, but I don't remember if he ever saw the bodies or not. The other thing I was going to say with Mars being a collector is that, like, I know he got stabbed, so he's probably reacting to that, but in my mind, like, he was kind of, like, moaning at the end, like, oh no, all my shit is going up in flames.
Yeah,
no.
I thought that too. Like, kind of looking at the stuff that he's done going up in smoke.
Yeah, but I feel like the fire is definitely a way to, you could bring him back. It'd be easy to bring him back. You could have him look completely different if you wanted to.
Yeah.
I don't know the original Cropsey myth if, because the burning, I mean, it's not really spoilers to say the guy, the killer, the Cropsey killer in that one is burnt, like completely worse than Freddy Krueger burnt. And I'm kind of wondering if that's actually part of the original legend. For the killer to be burnt, because I don't know, maybe that's where they were going. Maybe this was setting up for a sequel, and you're going to have Charred Man Mars. But I mean, like I said, it's a very low budget movie, so I don't know if they were ever anticipating doing a sequel, but I feel like there were definitely things left very open for a sequel. Maybe that's just my mind, having seen so many franchise slasher films that I'm just expecting it.
Yeah. That's pretty much the movie, the premises, and the kills. A fun tidbit that I read up on IMDb was during the making of the movie, the guy who plays Madman had a son. And apparently, after he filmed one night, like he was going to the emergency room to go find his wife, and he runs in full Madman Mars makeup, like scar, blood, and all, and just freaked out an entire hospital. I'm just like, where was somebody with a camera? That would have been awesome to see.
From what I heard on the bonus features, it sounds like he more ran in, like I think the makeup was off of his face, but he was still in like the bloody overalls and stuff. And apparently he runs in like, I need maternity. You're like, no, sir, you need emergency. No, I don't. I need maternity. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
So I guess they mentioned it on the new copy, on the newest bonus feature they did, which I think was filmed this year. And they mentioned it. They've been talking about it for a long time, but they're looking to do the same original. Or I think the original director's dead, but the producer and Paul Ehlers, who played Madman, and maybe one or two other people involved in the original film, are wanting to do a reboot / sequel. And, obviously, indie film, it's hard to get financing for, especially when you're remaking a very, very cult film. And I think that's part of the reason they're doing the new Blu-ray, is to try to gauge interest and try to be like, hey, look, this Blu-ray sold really well. Why don't you finance us? But
yeah.
So would you be interested in seeing a reboot / sequel?
I'd be more interested in seeing a sequel. Maybe not 100% a remake. I mean, we live in a world where everything that's being touched in the 80s and higher is being remade. So it'll probably be a reboot / remake, but it probably will go to set up a sequel. So either way, I'm good. I enjoyed this one. I actually will add it to one of my enjoyable movies. I mean, it was hokey enough. It was fun.
And I mean, I think I'm in the same boat. I would rather see a sequel, but with the obscurity of this film, and especially the age of this film, to have a future to it, it may need to reboot first. Just the likelihood of getting a theatrical release of anything like that now is probably pretty slim, just with the climate of movies now. But it would be cool to see it, see it redone. I would really like to see them. Go ahead. I would really like to see them touch on some of the things I kind of brought up, like the difference between the legend and the actual character. Why Mars is able to, resist death, why he's so superhumanly strong. Is he just gone completely feral, or is there something more behind it? And I think now, looking back, and it would probably maybe be easier to fill in some of the plot holes, and, you probably get away with a little more these days too.
Well, you want to do the backstory without ruining it. I mean, look like Black Christmas and Halloween.
Can I not watch a Black Christmas remake ever again?
Yeah, exactly. But brought in parts for this remake where we see why they are. Granted, we'd never need to know the Black Christmas remake backstory at all. Oh, God. If you like that movie, I'm sorry. I pity you.
You don't like skin cookies and incest?
Ugh.
Oh, man. I go off on Black Christmas. I wanted to do Madman because I wanted to talk about how much I love this movie and point out some goofy things in it. But if we ever do Black Christmas, the remake,
the only way we'll do that is if we do a original versus remake segment, which I'm sure we could do. Like, oh man, Halloween, oh boy, Friday the 13th.
The reboot of Halloween, I think that most horror fans seem to at least kind of enjoy that one. I enjoy that one.
It's a hit and miss.
The remake of Friday the 13th was just a Friday the 13th sequel. If they called it Friday the 13th Part 12, it would have been, been that. It would have been fine. I think calling it a reboot almost hurt that movie more than anything else.
Yeah. Texas Chainsaw, that was one of the very best remakes I've ever seen, yet they kind of screwed themselves over at the end.
Well, yeah, and the beginning, we'll not talk about that one. The beginning is my lowest on that whole list. I will watch any other Texas Chainsaw before I watch that one.
Ain't no fucking biggie.
All right. Not even that movie. Texas Chainsaw 4. Prefer it over the beginning.
Even the new movie you'll watch over the beginning.
Do you think? Because, oh jeez, Texas Chainsaw is its own beast. And let's not, of course, forget touching penises, Freddy in the remake.
What?
Child molester Freddy.
Oh.
Yeah,
that's one we're definitely doing. Nightmare versus each other. That is one thing I'm hoping to do with this is do a remake versus original. We'll have to pick the good ones. We'll have to pick, because I bet there's going to be certain ones we'll both love and we'll both, there is only one, kind of like there's one movie that Vince Vaughn did. I forget what it was called.
Psycho?
He played a crossdresser.
Oh, geez.
He played a crossdresser. I don't know. It's out there. If you guys know the name of it, let me know.
Yeah. There's plenty of movies I do not want to look at the remake of. I mean, yeah, there's a lot.
Well, I think we've gotten to the point at the end of this. So speaking of remakes, my choice is up next. And if any of you remember a top 5 or top 10 video he did of his favorite kaiju monster, I'm going to make him sit through the 1988.
The album? No, not the album. Please, never again the album.
I don't have the steelbook in front of me. I ordered it.
Jeez.
I'm gonna make it. Speaking of remakes, I'm gonna make him sit through that. Just because I've been waiting.
I thought you'd like. Damn it.
What?
I picked a movie I thought you'd actually enjoy. Being horrible. The worst part is I've seen Godzilla '98 enough that I probably don't even need to watch it to be able to talk in depth about it. But
I'm digging myself a grave. He can make me watch anything now.
Oh man, I'll have to find something awful for you. But that means I have to watch it too.
We really hate this Skinned Deep movie. It's so horrible.
Skin's Deep. I'll have to pick that one eventually. That's harder to find for most people.
I enjoy that movie, so I don't say it sucks.
No, I love that movie. It is hilarious. It's up there with Troll 2, and I feel like it doesn't have the love Troll 2 does.
It's because you can't find it. Troll 2 you can find in a used store, or I guess now on Blu-ray now. And with Scream Factory bringing it up, it'll definitely be catching on. But yeah, I think Skin Deep is the new Troll 2 because that is hard to find. Like I think we found it once, and I picked it up. And that's since then I've seen it maybe once, and it didn't last long.
It's I got mine years ago, like 8 years ago or so, at a Blockbuster. They were giving like a $5 for $20 DVD bin, and I had 4, and I needed a 5th, and that was number 5, and that was probably the best thing I picked up that day.
I have a few of those movies.
There's definitely a lot to cover that we can cover, but so I'm really not sure. I kind of personally prefer this version. I mean, I think we're gonna do maybe once a month, try to do 2 podcasts a month, do one where it's more a general topic, probably more focused on what we did last time, but and then do one that is a movie review podcast. Then we're gonna alternate months picking the film and.
Unless we're still discussing this part, unless it's like comes on a holiday, like for Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas, we'll probably choose the like Halloween, like a Halloween movie, or for Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving, for Christmas. You know, there's so many, so we'll probably like hold off on who picks what, and to a joined choice for those since there's so many to discuss.
Well, Thanksgiving, I think you'll run out. At least horror movies pretty quick. But
well, yeah.
I mean, unless Eli Roth ever actually makes Thanksgiving, which I would love, that trailer still makes me wish that movie happened.
That's the only Eli Roth movie you enjoy?
I haven't seen a whole lot of his stuff. I mean, Cabin Fever was fine. And what's the other thing? I'm not a fan of torture porn, and I'm kind of wondering, I haven't even watched the trailer for Green Inferno, but it kind of looks like Cannibal Holocaust meets Hostel from what I saw of it.
That doesn't say much.
It means there's
the same damn thing.
A lot of unpleasantness on the screen for 2 hours. Yep. But, yeah, so... I guess beyond talking about movie crap, words, things I can't think of. So what have you picked up lately that's cool?
Okay. Last time we talked about San Diego Comic-Con stuff. Obviously, you've watched his channel. You see all the stuff he picked up. Lucky SOB. I have since – I've almost got Jason, but after a 2-hour with the website, I ordered off of Pop Culture, I think it is. I ordered Jason, and I was in the middle of buying. I hit pay, and all of a sudden, it went to a white screen. Well, after refreshing for 2 hours, it told me it was out of stock. So I gave up on Jason. I'll pay a freaking scalper eventually. But the one thing I found that we were going around, just running around in our normal toy hunting business, and we went to Toys R Us, and we go into the San Diego Comic-Con section, and I found my pride and joy, the Jaws reaction killing Quint figurine. I cannot wait to display this. Outside the box, of course.
Who keeps packaging? I guess continuing with Comic-Con stuff, I did pick up another SDCC exclusive. I got the Mini-Mate Ninja Turtles, the comic-style Ninja Turtles. This is pretty cool. I like Mike comes with the spinning nunchucks and stuff. I know this is blurry as hell.
Nice.
The full set of 4. They have sewer lid bases. They actually have little tails that make it look like they're taking a dump. It's lovely.
Yeah. It's pretty much it. I mean, Comic-Con, we really don't need to discuss what happened with all the trailers that came out. Warner Brothers bitching about Batman, Superman, Suicide Squad, and Deadpool just being badass. Which I cannot wait. It's going to release a new trailer. I'm guessing the PG trailer within the next week or so. So, yes.
I just found out, talking about recent entertainment crap, that Ant-Man might have the first tie back to the Incredible Hulk. Apparently, there are ads in the background for the soda that Stan Lee drinks in the beginning of the Incredible Hulk.
Oh yeah, I knew about that. I just never looked for it.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. It's like nobody references the Hulk anymore, so it's kind of funny to see that.
Yeah.
And, so I don't know when our next episode is going to be, but
it'll be in a few. Our next episode will be in a few weeks. I gotta make a family trip up north. He's gonna hit a convention, so it'll probably be sometime after the 15th is when we'll be able to do our normal episode, which will probably be like convention talk, and then sometime towards the end of next month we'll give you the Godzilla episode.
Can we not? Can we skip that one?
Nope.
Damn it. But yeah,
movie, don't worry.
There's a toy show in a couple weeks that I'm going to be hitting, so I'm going to go broke and get a bunch of cool stuff, hopefully.
Yeah, you say that every time a toy show happens, and yet you never leave broke. Granted, your DVD dealer is going to be there along with Linnea Quigley.
I think I had no money left that one time when I bought like the Godzilla figure in the turtle van. I think I was pretty broke.
Oh, I don't remember that one.
That was like the last time I went. It was like, yeah, I don't think I had any money left by the time I left. But
yeah, I'm going to be gone for a family thing, so I'll be giving you money to find out or to pretty much spend for me.
That's dangerous. You're going to get the worst crap.
All right.
So, yeah, unless you have anything else to say about Madman or any other stuff, I guess we could probably wrap this episode up.
All thing to say is we're starting to throw back videos back up on our Broken Glory Gaming channel. Give it a look out on YouTube. We're trying to throw out as many videos as we can right now as we're all on hiatus. So we have a bunch of stuff in the backlog, so we're throwing that out as much as we can. So I'll try and update you as much as I can on this. But other than that, beware the Madman Mars.
Yeah, and of course, I'm always here reviewing action figures. I'm assuming if you're watching this, you're probably aware of my other stuff. But I think this guy, yeah, right there is getting reviewed later today. I don't know if I'll have it up today or tomorrow, but my semi-conclusion to Predator Week with not quite a Predator. And beyond that, I really don't know what else. Yeah, so, for the next episode, I'm not sure, or for the next movie episode, maybe we'll figure it out by the time we do the next normal show, but we might look into doing some way to bring you guys' interaction, maybe your comments on the movie, into this. Not really sure how we want to do that yet, but we'll try to figure it out by the next show and announce it there. I don't know if it'll just be email them in, comment something. I'm not sure, but we'll figure that one out. So, if you want to torture yourself and watch the 1998 Godzilla. Wait, did you say we have to watch 1998 Godzilla, or are we just going to watch the American Godzilla? Because I can watch the American Godzilla.
Huh?
If we just leave it vague enough and say we're watching the American Godzilla movie, that works better for me.
Not yet. Last year. Sorry, you're sitting through the Matthew Broderick one.
Oh. Can we watch Inspector Gadget instead?
Don't make me choose that. I actually would.
I named my childhood dog after that movie, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah.
Brain?
No, he was actually named Gadget. It's a long story. But yeah, so I think that does it for this episode of Dangertainment, episode 2. So we'll see you guys next time.
Adios.
Same Dangertainment time, same Dangertainment channel.